Namaskar and welcome to day 12 of our Dhanurmasa Satsang. Lakshminatha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yo Nityamachyuta Padambuja Yugma Rugma Vyamohatastaditarani Tanaya Mene Asmad Gurur Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम् कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना. So with prayers at the lotus feet of Lord Rama and the Acharya, let us take up our topic for today. So in yesterday's session, we had seen about how everybody is now well settled in Ayodhya and things are going on. And it is Bharata and Shatrughna have gone to Kaikeya Desha. So now about after that event of Bharata going to Kaikeya Desha, there are about 12 years or so that have passed. And at this point of time, Rama is around 24, 25 years old. And Sita is around 18 years of age. So this is the time when Dasharatha decides that now it is time for him to coronate Rama as the king. He considers all opinions he has discussions with his elders, the ministers in his sabha, his gurus, acharyas. And then finally he decides that he wants the opinion of the people also about his like he wants to have this Rama made as the king, but he wants to know what is everybody's opinion about that, and especially what is the people who are in his kingdom. He wants their verdict also. So here we see actually that how, although it was monarchy at that time and it was Raja who was ruling, but there was so much value given for the well-being of the Praja, and the opinion of the Praja was also given a lot of importance. So when Dasharatha asks, he calls a sabha, he calls all the people in his kingdom to come there. And then when he asks them that this is my thought and what do you feel about it? Then in one voice, they all say, they call Dasharatha old man. They say, oh, old man, you have ruled for thousands of years. So now it is time for you to make way. And we all want to see Rama anointed as the new king. So they say, Ichha mohi mahabahum, Raghuviram mahabalam, Gajena mahata yantam, Ramam chhatravritananam. So they say that Rama, who is Mahabahu, who has long arms, that hero, he is Mahabalam, he is the great hero, and he is born in this Raghukula. That Rama, we want to see him seated on a big elephant and covered and protected with a white umbrella, moving on that big elephant. So here, what is the meaning of this? Who is it that sits on the big elephant and moves with the umbrella, white umbrella, protecting him? It is the Chakravarti. It is the Raja of the kingdom. And that is why they say this. So they say, we all want to see this. And then Dasharatha, now he is very happy to hear what they are saying. But then he pretends as if he does not understand. And he says, oh, you are all so eager to have Rama as the king. Why are you not happy with me as the king? What is it that I have done? Did I do something wrong to you? So they say, oh, Dasharath Raja, there is nothing wrong which you have done. The only one mistake you did was that you begot a son with all these great qualities like Rama. That is the only mistake you did. If you didn't have such a son, we would have been perfectly happy with you. But your son is so great, he is so full of all these gunas that we want to see him as our king and we want to live in the kingdom which is ruled by him. That's the only mistake you made, that you got a wonderful son like Rama. And then they go on and on and on For so many shlokas, Valmiki goes on describing, they are listing out all the qualities of Rama. They say, Dharmagnyah, Satyasandhascha, Sheelavan, Anasuyakaha, Kshantaha, Santvaita Shlaknaha, Shlakshnaha, Kritagno, Vijitendriyaha. So he knows all dharma, he knows all righteousness. He is Satyasandha, he is true to his word. He has good character. He is not having any envy or jealousy. He is patient. He is able to console those who are in trouble. He always speaks good words. He has gratitude towards people. He has kept his senses under his control. Like this, they describe. Then there are so many more shlokas. They go on telling how Rama speaks truthfully to people, how he is very loving to everybody. In fact, they say that at the times when there is something good that happens to us and we are in a great joy, then before any of the family members can congratulate us, Rama is there to congratulate and be a part of our joy. And if there is any sad thing that happens to us, if there is a death in the family or there is anything bad that happens, then even before our own family members, Rama is there to console us and to offer support to us. So when it comes to elders and nyanis, he gives a lot of respect to them. And not just that he's doing all these things and he has no other skills. He's completely skilled. He has all the jnana which a raja should have. He is skilled in all the shastras. He's skilled in use of all astra shastras. He's a wise person. He cares so much for his subjects. He's very good in administration and so on. Now, how did people come to know all this? Because in all these 12 years after the marriage with Sita, once they came back to Ayodhya, Rama and his brother, Rama and Lakshmana, now the other two have gone off to Kekaya. So Rama and Lakshmana have been involving with all the administrative work that is done from the Raja for the well-being of the people. So he has participated in all these activities, and that is how he has come into contact with all the common people, and they know so much about him and his qualities. Now, Dasharatha is very happy because, as it is told, in those times it was like that. It was told that a father should not praise his son by his own words. It is other people who should praise your son. You should not be proudly proclaiming that your son is very good. And that is exactly what has happened here. Dasharatha has indirectly asked a question that, what is it that you find in Rama? Why you don't want me to be continuing as the king? And then these people explain all these beautiful qualities of Rama. So he's thrilled now. Dasharatha realizes that, okay, what he wants and what people wants, everything is the same. So immediately he turns to Vasishtha Rishi and asks him that please fix a good date. And there itself, Vasishtha Rishi sees and says that the very next day, the day of the Pushya Nakshatra, is the most auspicious time. Now, since there's hardly any time left, there is no time to do everything elaborately. So instructions are given, the Yagashala is prepared, all the samagris are brought and kept ready, then everybody starts cleaning up everywhere in the city. They start decorating and people come to know, and there is great joy in the whole of Ayodhya. Then Dasharatha asks Sumantra is his minister. Dasharatha asks him to bring Rama to that assembly. When Rama comes there and he offers obeisance to his father and all the elders, then Dasharatha embraces him and gives him a special seat, makes him sit there, and announces that he will be made king the next day. And not only this, he goes on to advise Rama about how a king should behave, what should be his demeanor, what should be his responsibility towards the people of his kingdom, how he should carry himself, what all he should do. So all these things, Dasharatha gives a small lecture to Rama, and then he sends Rama back. Then Dasharatha goes to his palace where he lives, and again he asks Rama to come there and advises that you may be wondering that what is this, why suddenly I have decided. But actually, what was happening is, since the past few days, I've been having dreams in which I am seeing some ill omens, and I'm feeling that soon something is going to happen to me, that either I will be having some disease or something bad will come upon me or I will die. And then it should not happen that this Rajya is left without a king. So it is apt that we should do it at the earliest possible Shubha Muhurta. So he tells him, and then he tells Rama that now, since tomorrow is going to be the coronation, you and Sita have to follow some vratas. You have to be fasting the whole night. You should do upavasa, you should do puja, do all these vratas, and be prepared for tomorrow morning. So Rama says, okay, and he goes away from there and he goes to the palace of Kausalya Mata. And what has happened there? She has already got the news from some of her servants that this is what Raja has declared in the court, and she's so happy, and she has been sitting in worship and meditation in front of Lord Vishnu's Murti, which is there in her house. So she's been doing that, and Rama reaches there and gives her the news from his own lips, and she's even more happy. She does puja, she gives lot of dana to people, and in that way she prepares for the Patabhisheka of Rama. Now all city is rejoicing, everything good is happening, everyone is totally so happy because that is the day that they have all been waiting for. They want to see Rama made the king and they want him as their Raja. Now, in the meantime, Vasishtha Rishi also comes to where Rama is in his palace. He gives him advice what vratas are to be done, what rituals are to be done. And in keeping with those instructions, Rama and Sita, they start doing upavasa. Rama performs a yajna and he offers worship to Narayana. That is what Valmiki writes in his Ramayana. He says, Gate purohite Ramaha snato niyata manasaha sahapatnya vishalakshya Narayanam Upagamat. After Vasishtha left, after the Purohit Vasishtha left, Rama and Sita, they did snana, they took bath, and they meditated on Lord Narayana with an undistracted mind. Rama did this along with his wide-eyed wife Sita. Vishalakshi, this name refers, Vishala means big, and Akshi means refers to the eyes. So Vishalakshi is one of the names which was given to Sita. And why it is said like that? Because she has big eyes. Now here particularly our acharyas comment that why this particular name has been used, why they didn't say Sita, and or why they didn't say any of the other names that she has. She is called Maithili, she's called Vaidehi. Why is Valmiki using this word Vishalakshi? Because the acharyas say it was such a wonderful sight. Now Sita also knows the reality of who is Rama. And she's surprised. She's saying, oh, how come this person, he is worshipping himself? Because Rama is after all an avatar of Lord Narayana. So this Rama, in this avatara, he has taken bath now and he has meditated and he's sitting and offering puja to himself, to Narayana's Murti which is there. So that is why they say, Acharyas tell that she is called here Vishalakshi. She has got, her eyes have become very wide and big, looking with wonder at this wonderful sight of somebody worshipping himself, right? So that is why this name is told here. Now, this Narayana whom Rama worshipped, it is important for us to understand who exactly is that Narayana and where is that Murti now today. So this Narayana whom Rama worshipped is the Aradhya Devata of the Ikshvaku clan, the Surya Vamsha in which Rama is born. And how it came there is that during many yugas before, when this Ikshvaku was the king, right? At that point of time, he had been to Brahma's Satyaloka. And there, Brahma was worshipping one very beautiful form of the Lord, one very beautiful Vigraha of the Lord, known as Jagannatha or Narayana. So that form of the Lord, Brahma had given. Ikshvaku was very happy to see that Vigraha. And he asked that, please give it to me, let me take it and worship it. So then Brahma gave away that Vigraha of the Lord to Ikshvaku. And he had brought and kept it in Ayodhya. And ever since it had passed down their family generations together. And now it was in the custody of Dasharatha. And Rama was worshipping that. So that Jagannatha, that Narayana, was the Aradhya Devata of the Ikshvaku dynasty. Now Rama finishes offering worship to him. And all other events will unfold in the Ramayana as we see. And if we fast forward and we see the time when Ravana has been vanquished and everybody has come back to Ayodhya and Rama is crowned as the king finally. His Patabhisheka has taken place. Then at the time when Vibhishana wants to return to Sri Lanka again, then Rama gifts him this very Vigraha, this very Murti of that Lord. And Vibhishana takes it and comes along with it. Now, as Vibhishana is coming down down south. He has to go from Ayodhya to Lanka, isn't it? So as he is traveling in his Pushpaka Vimana and coming, he comes across one very beautiful place on the banks of the Kaveri River in present-day Tamil Nadu. And seeing that lovely place, he says, okay, let me pause here for a while, and it is time for the evening worship of the Lord. So he pauses there and he offers worship to the Lord there. And then it so happens that when he tries to lift up that Vigraha again to go get back into the Pushpak Vimana and proceed to Lanka, then that Vigraha just cannot be moved from there. And that Vigraha, that Lord, tells Vibhishana that I am very happy to be in this place. So you please install me here itself. Now there is another version which is told in other places, probably in the Kamba Ramayana, I think, where it is told that there was one king called Dharmavarma, and this Dharmavarma, he had come initially to Ayodhya and seen that beautiful Vigraha of the Lord in Ayodhya. And he had wanted very intensely, he had prayed that he wants that Vigraha to be in his kingdom. This Dharmavarma was the Raja of that area of Srirangam, Tamil Nadu. He had gone to Ayodhya, he had seen that beautiful form, and he wanted very much. So he had been doing tapas, and he had been reassured by some of the rishis that don't worry, that God will come to you only, to your place only. And so it is said that when Vibhishana came there, then this Dharmavarma Raja went to him and begged him and said, please let this Lord be here itself. I have been promised by the rishis that this Lord will be established here only. And finally yielding to Dharmavarma's wish, or yielding to the Lord's wish itself, because if Lord has not willed it, it would not happen, isn't it? So Vibhishana finally was very sad, and to give some consolation to him, the Lord promised that don't worry, my Ashirvada is always with you, and I will always be looking out for your good and welfare. So you are in Lanka, and Lanka is to the south of India, isn't it? In the southern direction. So I will be in this place in Srirangam, but I will always be facing the south, and I will be looking at you from where I am. And it is told even today that late in the night, every day, after all the other rituals are over, Vibhishana comes in Sukshma form to Srirangam and offers worship to the Lord there. So that is the speciality of this. So today, what we are seeing, this deity Sri Ranganatha at Srirangam, in that Bhujanga Shayana, lying on Adishesha, in that supine position, that Lord is none other than the Lord in who was the Aradhya Devata of Rama himself. So that is how this thing has come about. And that same Vimana is with which the Lord came from Brahmaloka to the Ikshvaku dynasty. And then from Ikshvaku dynasty passed on to Vibhishana, and through Vibhishana came to Srirangam. That Vimana also we can see today, the Pranavakara Vimanam, we can see that in Srirangam till today. And that is why this temple is revered as in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, it is called as koil. If we say koil generally means temple. So the minute you don't specify any other thing and you only say koil, then it means this great temple where Lord Ranganatha is reclining and watching over the well-being of his deities. Now, normally in none of the temples do we find the Lord's face facing the south, the southern direction. But in this temple, the Lord is lying, looking towards the south, his face facing the south. Why? Because he is giving Ashirvada to his beloved disciple, to his beloved Vibhishana. And that is why we find this unique feature in this temple. So that is about how the Lord, who was in Ayodhya, now came to Srirangam. Okay, so we've talked about some few things here today. And in fact, if you remember that when at the beginning of this year, we saw the Ram Lalla Murti being, Prana Pratishtapana being done there in Ayodhya, before performing that ritual, before participating in that ritual, our Prime Minister Modi came and had darshan of the Lord, did seva of the Lord in Ranganath, of Lord Sri Ranganatha in Sri Rangam, before participating in the Prana Pratishtha rituals there. So it is very apt, isn't it? This Ranganathar is the Archa Vigraha, the Archa Murti, whom Lord Rama himself worshipped. So it is but right that we should have worshipped this Murti, this Lord first before doing Prana Pratishtapana of the Ramlalla Vigraha. So that is how that came to be about. So today we've talked about some things, and tomorrow we will move on to one of the most important turning points in the whole of the Ramayana, where now the Lord's mission is going to start following, right? Uh, but today, whatever we have discussed, what is it that we can understand? In all those things that we said, the Praja told about Rama and why they were so happy. So we understand what are all the qualities that a ruler should have. In the present day, we are seeing that there are politicians who have a lot of muscle power, money power, right? And media power. These are the people who are coming into governance, and they are the people who are taking on the administrative responsibilities. But in reality, what quality should a ruler have? That is expressed in what all these people of Ayodhya told, what they described as Rama's qualities, right? That they should be learned, they should be respectful to elders, they should have all kinds of shastra jnana, they should be empathizing with their people, they should be freely moving about with everyone, they should have sense control, and they should follow the path of dharma, they should be always speaking the truth. These are all the qualities that actually a ruler should have. And that is why it is told that the time when such rulers will come, then that will be real Ramarajya, isn't it? So that is one thing. Then out of all these qualities, okay, they are qualities for a ruler, but are there any things that we can also adopt in our life from these qualities of Rama? First, especially some two or three things that those Praja of Ayodhya told, that Rama would always take joy in the joy of others. And if there was anybody going through tough times, he would empathize with those people and try to help them. Another thing they told is that whenever we do anything good for Rama, then he always remembers that, no matter how small it is. And if by chance we have done something to hurt him, he never remembers that. So, can we try and adopt these qualities in our lives? Can we make this a part of our Prakriti? We can make efforts and we can pray to the Lord that He should help us in this process. So, rejoicing in the joy of others. Unfortunately, nowadays, many times we find that when something good happens to other people, we start feeling envious of them. And when something bad happens to people, we start feeling happy. Oh, yeah, they deserved it. We think like that, right? Instead of that, let us turn it around. Let us learn to find joy when good things happen to other people. Let us rejoice in their joy. And if there is something bad that happens, instead of gloating over it, instead of secretly feeling happy that, okay, they were cut down to size, let us start feeling bad for them. Let us start empathizing with them. Let us try to help them in whatever way possible. Then the other thing that many times we always magnify whatever wrong people have done to us. We always remember and remember and remember and keep harping about what bad somebody did to us. And if they have done good, we never remember that. We never even appreciate that. And it is long forgotten and given up. Instead, let us learn to focus on the good that other people are doing to us. Let us try and notice only the good that people do, and let us try to ignore the bad that they are doing to us. And that way, we can try to cultivate some of the qualities which Lord Rama had. Now, here, it is important that many times when people are commenting about the Ramayana and all that, there are people who say that Dasharatha definitely wanted to make sure that Rama is becoming king and that Bharata should not be anywhere in the process. That is why, when at particularly the time when Bharata was not there, when he was in Kekaya, that is why very quickly Dasharatha arranged everything and within one day he wanted to do the Pattabhisheka. So they say like that. But reality is, as Dasharatha told Rama, it is recorded in the Valmiki Ramayana that Dasharatha had been having dreams that he would die shortly or that he would suffer. And so, because of that, because of wanting to see Rama crowned as the king before that happens, he tried to move the events so quickly, right? And now we come to the important question that Valmiki has told now that Rama and Sita both have gone inside and they are praying, and today let them be there praying to Narayana. We will catch up with the other topics in tomorrow's satsang. But now it is time for us to wonder, what is it that Rama will have prayed for? Will he have prayed that, O Narayana, tomorrow is my Pattabhisheka, so let me become king? and let me enjoy this kingdom. Would he have prayed like that? Not very likely. If we remember that first Sharanagati which the Devatas did, now Rama would be praying that, O Narayana, you know that it is time now for me to start executing whatever is the plan of action for the purpose of this avatara. So please make sure that things happen in such a way that that plan of doing samhara of the asuras, that is set into action. So that is what Rama would have prayed for. Let us pray to Narayana, let us pray to Rama and Guru to say that whatever we have learned today about the qualities of Rama, let us try to let us be able to at least imbibe and adopt some of those qualities in our lives. So, with that, we will stop here for today. With Kritagnyata at the lotus feet of Lord Rama and Acharya, let us conclude. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunabdaye Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam Veda Vedanta Vedyaya Meghashyamalamurtaye Pumsam Mohana Rupaya Punyashlokaya Mangalam Pitrabhaktaya Satatam Bhratrabhisa Sitaya Nandita Kila Lokaya Ramabhadraya Mangalam Srimate Raghuviraya Setu Langita Sindhave जितराक्षसराजाय रणधीराय मङ्गलम् मङ्गलाशासनपरैर्मदाचार्यपुरोग्रमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यैः सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम्. Thank you everybody and we will meet tomorrow. Namaskar.